Well, hello, friends. It's Miss Chris with the Imagination Playground, and you are joining for our final mini workshop for our Love Month, which is the love of reading and writing comprehension. I am so glad that y'all are here. This is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, and I just want to speak for a minute about that. Um, so, my students know this, but many other people don't know this about myself, is the reason why I became a teacher and the reason why I love reading and writing as much as I do is it became an obstacle for me when I was a child. So when I was growing up, I had a learning disability in reading and writing comprehension. It became something that I hated, something that just brought so much anxiety to my life. And I really had to figure out a way to um, to find how I could get past that so that I could be able to move on. And I'm so glad I did because y'all, I mean, I'm a theater teacher now, I'm a theater professor now, and I'm a playwright and I read and write for a living. So, uh, right. So if your child is feeling anything similar and you've heard them say, I just can't read anymore, or I don't want to write, or why do I have to do this, or anything like that, that there's some sort of a boundary or there's some sort of anxiety, I'm really glad you're here because I am going to share some tools that not only will are surefire ways to work for your children, but y'all, they have worked for me. These are from my own personal experience that you can gift to your children, and hopefully it will help build their confidence in their reading and writing comprehension as they are going through life. So this is for all children of all ages. I teach a lot about breaking down the text and comprehension and vocabulary and how to get the joy back into that, because it's not just about, okay, how do we do this? It is how can we do it from the heart? How can we do it and have joy and happiness when we're doing it? Because we should be doing these things, not should, but it would be so lovely if we did these things all from joy. Okay, so I wanted to share my experience because it was so much grief that was early on in my life of not understanding how to read a book, not understanding the content and the characters in the book, and thinking, I just don't want to do this anymore. It's too much work. It's too hard, right? And then realizing, oh my gosh, I can really love this with these techniques. So without further ado, I'll share my screen and I want to bring this up for y'all. Okay, so let me go to the slideshow. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, I am trying to get to the slideshow. It is, there it is, slideshow. All right, y'all. So, yes, this is this is me actually on top of the Grand Canyon. This was a trip of a lifetime I just took this past summer. It's something I would not normally have done it. My best friend and she lives out in Las Vegas, and I always wanted to go, and I climbed to the top of the second tallest peak. It was incredible. I just felt liberated, and it was one of those things where I thought, wow, okay, I can do this. I can share this joy of reading and writing comprehension, this joy of what else can I do, right? So let's go. All right. The first thing to do is to look through the peephole of the text and to explore the text. So whether your child is reading a short story, whether they are reading a poem, a book, Shakespeare's text, this is huge for Shakespeare's text as well, right? uh, or whether they are reading an essay on a test and then they need to figure out what it says and what to do next, right? This is all problem solving. But before you can solve the problem, you have to figure out what it's saying. What is it asking? What is the question? So some of the things that I just brought up about my own personal hardships when I was really struggling with my learning disability and reading and writing comprehension is I was saying these things to myself. I was saying it's too hard. I was saying I'm stupid. I was saying I'll never get it. And I was in this mindset that I had a shortage in myself, and I felt like I didn't understand why I was having this shortage of knowledge, but I didn't understand the technique of how I could then build myself up again. So, what I did, I gave myself the permission to explore the text. Okay, so that is looking at what is it saying, reading it word by word, sentence by sentence, breathing as I'm doing it, and thinking, okay, as I'm giving myself the permission, what are some words in here and some images that come to mind as I'm reading this, right? What does it remind me of? And not only what does it remind me of, but what joy does it bring me when I am reading these things? Okay, so you are looking at the text. You have to start with the text, the content. Right? It's going from 2D on the paper into 3D, like in your brain and in your heart and in your imagination, because we're on the imagination playground, right? So how can you go from that 2D to 3D? Give yourself that permission to explore that text. And it takes practice. One thing that I really had to tell myself is I can't just do this once in my life, once a week, and then, all right, I'm done, I'm good. I understand how to do it. You have to keep practicing, right? So it's something where you are deepening a skill set of critical thinking and of character development, how to build your imaginations, how to build story, how to learn about plot and theme and character development by setting those good habits. So it starts with giving yourself permission to explore the text and generating that interest. So finding imagery, picturing it. When you're reading it, uh, think of it as a movie where you're picturing somebody that you know or somebody that you uh, really have positive feelings towards, and you want to put them in that character, right? Helps you to picture it. Okay, so once you're exploring the text, the next thing is we're going to chunk the content. Okay, so uh, exploring the text and chunking the content kind of go hand in hand. Exploring has to go first, and then you chunk it. So this is what we do. We read in small sections. This is the big thing. We have gotten to a place in our society where we are telling children, you have to do this in this much time. You have to rush. You have to. You have 15 minutes to, you have 5 minutes to, you have to, and then we got it, and then you got it. Right, we got to slow down, okay? In order for your children to understand difficult content, and I mean like essays, any sort of interpretation, you can have some general ideas, which is what comes from exploring the text, right? You can have some general ideas of, okay, this is what I get the gist of the interest and the ideas of who these people are and what's going on in a nutshell. But now we're going to chunk it, okay? So we're really going to read it in small sections and going, what's really going on in here? Give them plenty of time. If they need a snack while they're doing this, don't let them leave and go to the kitchen. Keep them in. So the first two, love of reading, love of writing, I've talked about our little like nook, our little reading writing nook, that little like pocket in the corner that's just for them, right? Have their snack there. Food is good. Food is good for all this stuff. A little snack of if they're not allergic to peanut butter, a little peanut butter and Triscuits, or a little some like apples and grapes or something, a little something, right? Let them have snack, let them read in small sections, give them plenty of time. And then, depending if the work is on the computer or if it's on if it's in a book, then I would suggest having a dictionary handy. And I mean, no cell phones. Again, we talked about that. We don't want to have cell phones in their nook corner. We want to have a small dictionary book, not something that's really intimidating, right? Just a small dictionary book. You can get them at Dollar Tree. I've seen them there. Okay, $1.50. That's all. But give them that book so that they can go, okay, I don't know what this word means. And then they can go and they can look it up Then they can go back to that sentence again, that small section sentence, put the definition in there and reread it again. And then hopefully it will give them a deeper understanding of what that sentence means. Then have them read the next sentence, and same thing, and the next sentence. Once they're done with either the essay or the paragraph or that little section, now again, if they're reading a chapter book, I would not say get to the end of the chapter. I would say in that one page or in that one paragraph, by the time they get to the end, what is it saying? What is the text saying? What is the character feeling? What is the character's actions, right? What are they saying? Because then we're talking about plot and objective and how we are getting towards story structure. You see how this is all fitting in with English language arts, right? So it's the same, it's all fitting together. So again, small sections, plenty of time, looking up words that they don't know, and then what is the text saying? What is that character feeling? I've said this, I've done many Shakespeare workshops as well for my older kiddos where I told them the same thing. And I've said, look, y'all, you were not born to know what all these giant words mean. That's why we have dictionaries. That's why we, right? Give yourself permission to look things up and then go back and make your own assessments, make your own conclusions, draw your own conclusions after you read it. And that will make you a stronger reader and a more empowered reader and a more loving reader. Like you will love it because you'll have the joy of going, I get it, I understand it, I'm invested in these stories, I'm invested in this character, right? Okay, all right, next one and last one is to make connections. Okay, how to connect how your child relates to this content to their own life. That is the question. Why does it matter? I ask that question to myself all the time. Why does this content matter to what I'm reading? I could be enjoying it, but what am I learning from it? Why does it matter to me? Right? How can I connect how it relates to my own life? Is there a character that I'm relating to? Is there a scenario of how I'm relating to this? And how can I draw those conclusions? What did I learn from it of going, would I do the same thing that this character did? Would I not? And why? So you see what I'm doing is I am asking further, deeper questions to help connect the content of what they're reading that they've now understood to their own life so that then the next time they pick up a book or an essay that's on a test, they know exactly how to do this, right? Here's where the practice comes in, which goes back again to setting good habits, okay? When they get to a test in their class where they have to either read and or respond to an essay, and I don't mean just in English class, but look, we do it in math class all the time with problem solving. You're given that chunk of Sally went to the store and she bought 4 apples. Then Tony bought 2 of the apples. How many, right? And so then we got a problem solving. The same thing, you got to chunk it, right? You got to make those connections and picture it in your head so that you can be informed about, not you, I'm sorry, your child can be informed on how they can then break this down. Now, if they have, let me come back to y'all now. If your child has, I had a lot of anxiety, I still do, with time, right? With thinking I have to get things done in a certain amount of time. I think we all do, because then we're just like, oh my gosh, right? Some people love deadlines and they are just really, and I'm motivated towards them too, but there's also a bit of anxiety there. And when you're a child and you're trying to understand, as you're going through all the growing pains to begin with, and then you're trying to understand the content, and then you're trying to understand how to put it in your own words, make those connections and put it on paper and try to get an A so that you can make your parents happy and that you can learn these wonderful skills and build on those skills. The only way to continue doing that is routine, setting those great habits and that mindset, right? So practicing. And I mean, this can be something that they can just take a book that they're loving to read. I mean, give them a little Harry Potter, or give them Percy Jackson or something where they can take little sections, read it, look up words they don't understand, and then start to write about it, right? Now, if you want to go the extra mile, okay, with reading and writing comprehension, I would suggest going back to last week's workshop with the love of writing and take a look at that about certain prompts that you can do as a follow through. It's great practice, y'all. It's really, really great to really empower them and get them in a routine so that by the time they get to their essay they have to write in class, they will not feel that time crunch, and they will probably get it done a lot quicker than they would have thought they could have done it when they first started this exercise, right? So, and the more empowered that they are, the more that they are gonna love reading and writing, okay? So I am so thankful that you joined me here today. And I hope some of this content over this last month of the Love Month has connected with you. I would love to hear from y'all. If you would like a copy of these slides or of any of the slides, feel free to comment below with just the title. So if you want the slides for the love of reading, just comment reading. If you want the love of writing, comment writing. If you want this one here, the reading and writing comprehension, just comment reading, writing comprehension. If you want all of them, just comment all, okay? In addition, you'll see, oh, that's the wrong hand. This one, this, I put together a little guide, a little free guide that gives a lot of extra tools for how to improve reading and writing comprehension. And it's a little resource book that I put together for my parents. If you would like that, I want you to type love in the comment below, and I will be happy to send that to you, okay? So again, all of this that I'm giving y'all, these are all free resources. I'm happy to get them. I love teaching. I love empowering kids. I want them to feel like they are successful. That's why I do what I do. For next month, the month of March, I'm going to put together the specifics of what each week will entail, but every Monday we'll be doing either a video drop or a Facebook Live that is on the theme of magic. So March is magic month, okay? So join me on Mondays at 5:30, and I'm not pulling bunnies out of hats, right? Magic is the magic of reading, writing, comprehension, the magic of the characters, the magic of storytelling, right? We're gonna talk about all of that, and come join me. Please feel free to ask any questions that you want. I'm happy to help y'all in any way I can. I just really want to reach as many children as I can, empower them, and just lift them up so that they didn't have to feel like they struggled like I did with my learning disability. And if they, on a final note, if your children have been assessed and they do have any sort of learning disability, not just with reading and writing comprehension, but any learning disability, it's so hard as a parent because the first thing and I've been teaching for 17 years, and I've had these conversations in many, 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 many meetings with my parents where the first thing they say is they think they did something wrong, or how did this happen? Or there's already a stigma that they have attached in their brain. Your children are looking at you, right? So it's, you did nothing wrong. I want to tell you that you did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. My parents definitely did not do anything wrong, right? They're awesome, right? It is just something that happens. It's kind of like a switch in your brain. It's something that happens that we just have to fine tune those skills and empower them to become stronger. And that's all that is, y'all. Okay. So I'm sending y'all the love. So proud of y'all. So proud of your kids. And I will see you in the month of March. Have a beautiful day.